Okay, guys, let's dive in. Project management workflow. In this video, I want to help you handle projects like a pro. Quick story. Going back to when I was handling over 10 projects and, so many clients screaming at me, lots of things happening. Look, at the end of the day, I want to help you avoid death by 1,000 admin tasks. You can have a lot of projects, even if it's just one project. This video is going to help you manage that one project really well. If you can manage one project really well, you can probably handle 2 or 3 projects really well. And if you want to be able to make an income with Webflow, generally you've got to be able to manage more than one project at a time. And so that's what I want to be able to help you do with this video. What you'll learn in this video is why project management systems matter, how to use your Webflow checklist for project management, your Reloom starter project, and FlowGuru's additions, what we add to our starter project, managing communications with Slack, and our markup feedback system. Diving straight in, why project management systems? Well, you get more done, and the quality of what you get done is better. You're either remembering everything in your head or you've got it written down somewhere. And as we go through in our Webflow build checklist video, that's honestly the vast majority of your system. So we're going to be just giving you that in a template, which you can use as your own project management system. We're going to get to that in a second, but instead of remembering everything, it's all just there. Huge, huge benefit, and you will get more done. It'll get done faster, and it will get done to a better quality standards. Not to mention, you'll be able to sleep at night. Big, big part of having project management systems dialed in. Second thing is that you'll be able to automate and delegate tasks. It's very difficult to automate things and delegate things when you don't have any kind of system set in place. Now, we've got an epic system set up with Monday.com. You can use platforms like ClickUp or HubSpot, or there's a plethora of platforms out there to be able to automate steps in your project management. For now, though, we're going to give you something that's going to get you honestly like 80 to 90% of the way. You don't really need to go as epic, all in as we have with that, but we'll be able to get you a very far down the line very quickly and cut out a huge learning curve. The other part is that if you want to delegate and grow your team, if it's more than just you, or if you need people to jump in, it's so much easier to get people to jump in if you've got a system there that they can jump into. It also helps you smoothen out the customer experience. Rather than it being chaotic for the customer, they feel like they're being taken on a journey through your system. Not to mention, you can also upgrade the system and, further develop your systems to improve the efficiencies that you have. If you don't have a system, you've got nothing to improve. Reduce admin and focus what's important. Redoing the same things over and over again, like silly admin tasks, for example, creating a folder, adding links, doing all this stuff. Ideally, the more you can automate, the more you can just duplicate and reuse, the better. Number 5 is you get taken seriously. So having an actual system in process, you go from being a freelancer to a super freelancer, right? Well, essentially it's like a micro agency. You're a one-man band or a one-gal band. So that is why project management systems are important, that ultimately you have something that you can rely on, that you can sleep well at night knowing that I've got a system, everything's under control, versus just having to remember everything in your head. Now, what I'm going to walk through in the next video, we're going to go through this Webflow build checklist in detail. But before we go to that in detail, I want to show you how to actually use it as a project management tool. Because let's say you've got a project now, it's ready to start, we're ready to jump in. This one Webflow build checklist is going to just save you so much time, and it's going to help you keep your projects super organized. How to use your Webflow build checklist for project management. Once you get access to your ultimate Webflow build checklist, you'll see something like this in your Notion space. I highly recommend creating a specific space for your freelancing work. You shouldn't have to pay for a Notion plan. I think you should be able to get away with the free plan to be able to do this. The first thing you want to do is create a space. And for example, here I've created a project space. You can simply add a new team space by clicking this plus, but essentially you want a dedicated space that you're going to be adding projects. Now you can see here, once you duplicate a copy of the Ultimate Webflow Build Checklist, at the moment we're at version 1.2, you want to duplicate a copy into your Notion space. Once it's in here, this becomes the template that you can use for projects. I'll show you what I mean. Project ABC, we'll call it. Project ABC comes through the door. Up the top right here, we want to click duplicate. Blam. We hit duplicate, give it a few seconds, and there we have it. The Ultimate Webflow Build Checklist 1.2, copy number 1. All right, now what we want to do is we want to change this to Project ABC. Now you've got your own project management tool ready to go. Now, if you want, you can change the icon to match maybe the logo of the brand that you're working with, and change the background to the brand you're working with to differentiate the project. I would do that. I love that. Then I would probably just drop it into the projects team space, because if you do want to eventually add other people and get multiple people in there, you're going to have a space where you can invite people to. So from here, we've got Project ABC ready to go. How cool is that? Obviously, in the next video, we'll walk through in more detail, but the main thing that you're going to want to do here before you get into detail and learning all the steps in the checklist is I just want to help you understand how to actually use this checklist. So the first thing you'll see is an introduction. There's going to be a few more videos here on how to get the most out of the checklist, but every single step also has videos to help you get the most out of it. The main things you're going to want to know here is, in short, each of these is one of the steps per project. So review design, you've got to go through, review every single page of the design in detail. So every single project you have, this needs to be checked off. Now, by the way, it's a small detail, but this white background is just so freaking bright, and I'm not a fan. So I like to go to settings. I like to go to my settings and then change it to dark theme. Oh, isn't that better on the eyes? Goodness me. So as you go through the project, you're literally going to go through every single step and then check off each of the, for example, create Webflow project. You're going to go through duplicate X. Fantastic. Refresh the page, click setting. Done. Rename the project. Done. Upload favicon. Done. So if it's not checked off, you know it's not done. That's how you can sleep well at night, because every time you wake up, if you've got 10 projects on, you know exactly where every single project is. At the moment, start session and end session, you can ignore that. We're probably going to remove that because it's not working well. But what you can do is that when you're using this checklist and when you're going through each project, for example, Project ABC, you can be like, look, in progress. And then as you work through review design, done, and then done. Once they're all done, you come to here and go complete. Bada bing. And you can see that we're now 10% complete. Plan, colors, fonts, and spacing. You go through every single step. Again, you can watch the video here. It'll go through it in detail for you, but plan all the fonts. I did that. I've planned the colors. I've planned the spacing. I've defined all the elements that are going to be reusable components. Done. Once you've done that, bam, again, complete. So you'll be able to see the progress of each folder. And then once that's done, you can mark that folder as complete of each of the major steps, basically, if that makes sense. So again, what would you do if you had 2 projects? Same thing. You would just go back to the Ultimate Webflow Build Checklist. You would duplicate a copy. You can do it from here as well. And then same thing. You would just rename that project, change the icon, change the background to suit that project so you can easily differentiate between those projects. So, for example, we'll call this one Project Amazing. And then we pop that one in here. So we've got Project Amazing and we've got Project ABC. And we can see Project ABC, all right, is 20% complete on the review and prep. And we haven't started anything else. How cool is that? One other really important part of this project management system that you can now use in just one click is the Project Master Notes. So for every project, there's always notes. And what kind of notes are there? There are notes for you and there are notes for the client. And when I say for the client, I mean, if you've asked the client, hey, can you please get us these files, or can you please upload the logo files, or can you please send us a link to XYZ? Send link for Vimeo video. Cool. Get logins for DNS, right? Whatever it is that you've asked from the client, it's so easy to forget. So we always keep a running checklist here of the open requests that we have with our client. Or if there are things that, we are outside of our checklist, most of the things are in the checklist, but maybe there's something unique, which is like, for example, change fonts to impact, the font style impact. That's what they want us to do. They want us to change all the fonts. All right. So we'll take a note of that. If you're ever on a call with the client, bang, you add it in there. What happens though if, client with Project Amazing wants some updates? Well, you jump into that one and you go into their master notes and you add notes there. So that way everything's tracked in one place. How freaking cool is that? And you can see everything at a glance where it's up to. So what we've just covered is setting up the Notion space, which is essentially just creating a space so that it's there. And again, setting up a separate space. Don't have this in your personal one. Quarantine it for your work and freelance work and agency work. Duplicate and rename the checklist. Then you want to organize and share it. So once you have it ready to go, if you want people to be able to view it or edit it, maybe you're collaborating with people, you can simply click share, publish to web, and then allow editing. And as soon as you do this, you want to copy the web link. And now you have a way for other people to access this. If we go to an incognito, I think you need to log in or need to sign in to be able to utilize it potentially. Boom. Just like that, someone else can jump in and start using this. Again, if we click edit, it's going to ask us to sign in. So they'll have to sign in, but they'll be able to edit that checklist. Super cool way to collaborate very easily with people and manage your projects without any costs. And we've covered the how to monitor the progress and managing notes and the to-do list. So that's the basic overview of how to use our Webflow Build checklist for project management. Again, we're going to go into detail on every single one of those steps in the Webflow Build checklist, but at least now you know how to actually use that when it comes to project management. So what we're really setting you up here with are like the 80 to 90% of the fundamental tools that are going to help you be successful and really handle projects like a pro. The first part is that project management system or tool, which is that Webflow Build checklist, which doubles as a project management system. The second part that's super important to be able to just have super clean and fast builds when it comes to managing your Webflow projects is a starter project. Now, there are different ones out there. I highly recommend the FinSuite starter project. The one we've chosen to work with and we have worked with for a while now, about a year, is the Reloom starter project, which is fundamentally based off of FinSuite's stuff with a few minor tweaks and changes. So I just want to quickly show you what that looks like. All you need to do is type into Google Reloom Starter Kit and it will take you to, it's this link here, the Webflow one, made in Webflow, Reloom Library Style Guide. So all you have to do is click Clone in Webflow. Then all you have to do is click Create Site. Let's call this Flux Starter Project. So now we can see in our account, we have the Flux Starter Project. We should have called this a Reloom Starter Project, obviously, but let's jump in and have a look at the Reloom Starter Project. Beautiful. Once you jump in, there's a few pages and bits and pieces that you'll be able to get rid of here. So, it already tells you this is the Reloom Style Guide message. You can delete this, right? You don't need that in there. So it comes pretty empty. There's nothing really in here except the style guide But while I remember, there's also one other cheeky thing in here. If you jump into settings, it's important to note that the project already comes with the Reloom starter project already comes with a few bits and pieces, like a little bit of custom code to make sure, which by the way, you can remove this one here. But it comes with a little bit of stuff that helps, styling. And in here, you'll be able to see there's some global styles. This element here has a bunch of styles that essentially just help your Webflow build be a little bit smoother. There's some things in Webflow which, are a little bit janky or buggy, and this just helps smoothen certain things out. Then you'll see there's a style guide here, and it's already ready, like set up. It's got everything ready for you to style, ready to go. And they've got whole video tutorials on how to use their style guide as well. So I highly recommend pretty much all things Reloom. But yeah, go to YouTube and have a look at a detailed walkthrough on how to use this. And have a look at how other people style it as well. You'll also see a bunch of utility classes down the bottom. So all the structured classes, page wrapper, padding, margins, all of that, it's all included. So that if you start, typing, for example, heading style 1, heading style 2, it's all in here ready for you to go. Now, this is great. This is amazing. It gets you 90% of the way there, but there's, let's say even 95% to be honest. However, if you want to really kind of supercharge your starter projects, I highly recommend customizing it just a little bit more, and it's going to help you build faster, and it's going to help just reduce a lot of the repetitive tasks that no one wants to do. So what we've done is we've got our Flow Gurus base. And that base is our starter project, and it's the base of every site that we build. That's how I like to think about it, is that we're kind of setting up the foundation to win. Now, every site has a nav and a footer, right? So what do? We add a nav component and we add a footer component in there. And it's in the page wrapper. We've got the global styles are in there. We've got the nav, we've got the footer component, and we've got the main wrapper. All right. And we've just adjusted some things that, that we do regularly in websites. This is going to be different for everyone, but one of the examples is, website by Flow Gurus. Do you want to add that on every project? Website by your agency or by your freelancing link? Well, then let's just add that in the starter kit. Another one is this one here, auto update the year. So we've just got a little bit of JavaScript that we have in the body of the website, which updates the year based on this class. The social links in the footer, just little bits and pieces like this that we like to include in every project. Another thing is in the nav, we've got the logo component, right? So we have this super logo component, which enables you to easily manage your logos across the sites. You've got the different ways of adding logos, whether you want primary logo, secondary logo, and you can just switch it on and off using visibility, etc. But again, everyone has their different ways of doing it. It's more thinking about, okay, what am I using regularly in projects, and how can I make sure that that's ready to go on every project? Another few things that we've added, which you won't see in if we look here at the Reloom starter kit, some things that you won't see in here. If we go to our style guide, we'll compare them side by side. So one thing you'll notice here is the logo. That's just a normal logo right here. Ours is a component. And let me just walk you through. This is our super logo component, right? You'll notice that when we edit this, we've got a few different things in here. One, we've got the logo as an SVG. Now, if you don't know how to use SVGs, this might be a little bit complex, but essentially making sure that you have an SVG with current color, current height will allow you to control the SVG. Plenty of videos on how to do that, but that's ready to go in there. We've also got the primary logo and the secondary logo, but where is the secondary logo? Well, it's hidden by default. You can see that we've got the property settings hidden. Secondary logo visibility is hidden. So what that means is if we've got multiple logos on a website, then we can simply choose to hide or display different logos depending on what page it is. Maybe you want white variations. Maybe you want ones with just the icon and then others with the text. So that's how we control which logo displays on which page, but it's all in one component so that we only have to have one logo component for the entire website. That way you can just update it and it will update everywhere. There's also a few little things like we use certain different classes. We have this embed, a lot of this stuff though is just, it's super unique to us. It's more about what you use on a regular basis and what's going to be helpful. However, some things which I think would be useful for everyone is give the 404 some proper styling, make it look like the way you want it to look. Chuck the nav on there, chuck the footer on there, make sure that there's a button which goes to the home. We add a contact page because there's a contact page on every single website. So we add the contact page on there. We add a custom thank you page because most websites want a thank you page. We also make it dynamic. So there's a bit of custom code that when someone says, sends a contact form, it says, thank you, Benjamin, right? Dynamic. It's a neat little touch. The other minor thing is that we've got a page which is all forms. So whenever we have a bunch of forms on a website, we turn them all into components and then we add them to this page so that we can manage all the website forms in one place. One of the sexiest things about our starter project, though, is our support videos. Again, all this stuff is not necessary, as in you don't need this. This is just extra stuff that we like to include because we use it in every project anyway. So for us, we have these support videos. On every project we build, we want it to be as useful for our clients as possible, which is why we have like a mini support video library that we hand over with the site, with videos on how to use the site, technical documentation, and a bit of a virtual tour of their new website. But I was just sick of rebuilding this every time we did a project and building out the page and adding the interactions and building the CMS to connect it all up. So it's just in there from the start. Another one is our legal docs template. So privacy policy, all those things, it's something that's on almost every website. So it's in there. And I don't know if you noticed, but on every page I've shown you so far, there is a nav and a footer component. Why is this important? When you start a project, it might be a completely different footer. It might be a completely different nav. All you need to do is delete that component and add the footer component you want. And because it's inside a global component, it will update on every page. Same goes with the nav. Nav is in a wrapper. Delete this, throw in the other nav, and then it updates on every page. How cool is that? But that really, the other stuff is just really not that important. Actually, one thing, the blog. A lot of websites have blogs. I really don't like building out this stuff where we have to connect it all up and the classing. So we just make sure that we've got these blog cards ready to go on every project. And in the CMS, we've already got the blog, set up where we've got the thumbnail image, the main image, blog post. We've got the authors set up, categories, because these things, once you've done them 20, 30 times, you don't need to be doing that stuff again. So that there is an overview of the global components, our blog setup, all forms, contact thank you page, support video library, the things that we've added to boost the Reloom starter kit. So now what you've got is you've got a checklist, which is going to double as your project management tool to be able to manage multiple projects and manage them very well, know exactly where you're up to. You've got a project starter kit, right, that you can just kick off with. And you've got some inspiration about some things to add to that starter kit and how to start thinking about your starter kit, which is really the base of every project that you start with. You're ready to go. What happens next? And one of the biggest things when it comes to project management is client communication. When it comes to managing client communication, we want to make sure that we are super organized with it. We only manage our clients in Slack. You don't have to use Slack. You can use emails. If you use emails, I'm going to recommend doing similar things to this, but I want to share with you kind of just some insights as to how we manage it. So you can see here, this is one of our agency partners, and we've got an agency partner channel in this channel, they've got all the relevant links that we utilize on a regular basis. Here's a link to our Webflow Starter, our Figma starter kit that we give them, links to our Zoom meeting link that we always use, the Google Drive for this particular project or this particular agency, and then a link to the dashboard. So in your case, I would be making sure that it's the same thing. You just want to have one place. Hey guys, whether it's a thread, whether it's a Teams or a Trello board, just having one place where that's your place of communication, and make it clear, hey guys, it could be a Google Doc. Here's where all of our links are. Here's where I'm going to be posting all of our updates. And it's any questions, go in here. This is where we're managing everything moving forward. I hope that makes sense. You could even use just a Notion doc. In fact, a Notion doc would be perfect for this. And if you use a Notion doc, I would highly recommend adding that Notion doc to your project master notes. Blam, pop it right in the top there so that you've got access directly to that from your project. So what we've covered here is about when it comes to project communications and managing them, we use it with Slack, but the principles to take away from this is keep your communications all in one place. Pin important links in one place and ensure project communications are directly associated to the project. So if you've got a project, you need to be able to go from that project directly to the communications. And wherever you're communicating with the client, you need to have a direct way to get straight back to the project. Make sure that they are closely linked to ensure that it's very easy to manage projects together. Now, the last part of managing projects like a pro is your feedback system. Now, you don't have to use a software for this necessarily, and Webflow is getting closer and closer to the point where we might even just be able to do it all in Webflow. But we use a software called Markup, and Markup allows us to simply share one link with our client who can then jump in and leave comments. Make this bigger. Right? So we'll receive comments from the client. We can then review, we can respond to those. It will take us directly to where that issue is on the website. We don't have to guess about where it is. We can also see if it's on tablet or mobile. And we can see once it's been resolved, we simply click resolve and it marks as resolved. This is absolutely imperative when it comes to managing projects with clients. The very cool thing is with Markup, you should be able to get away with managing it with a free account. I think once you get up to 3 or 5 projects, you either just delete the project, right? Because that's the maximum you can have in the account. Just delete the Markup project and you can start again. To use Markup, you simply need to use the Webflow staging link. I highly recommend not using the live link. All you want to do is punch that into Markup, hit go, and there you have it. You have a new Markup project where you can send to the client. All we do is just rename. Okay, this is for HighThrive. Then all you do is click share and copy this share link. So anyone with the link has access, boom, and then people, all they have to do is log in into a free account, and then they can leave comments on your project. So what we've covered here with utilizing Markup is the plan that you need. Hopefully you can get away with using the free plan for as long as you can. I think we got away with using it for almost a whole year on the free plan. And just every time that we maxed out, we just deleted what projects were in there, because once you use it once, you don't really need to hang on to that project once the Markup is complete. And then from there, how to set up a project, share that link, very quickly get feedback, keep all your feedback in one place. If the client says, oh, hey, they leave some comments in your Slack channel or your communications channel, always ask them, hey, please pop that in Markup. Don't try to remember that. Don't try to have it in notes. Put it in the Markup link when you get to the review time. Handling feedback is as simple as just leaving a comment and then getting it marked as resolved. I also, just a small tip, I highly recommend letting your client know, hey, just one person at a time leaving review comments. We don't want, the whole team in there leaving a bunch of comments. It's not for communications. It's simply for review. So that's my tips and tools given to you to manage your project workflows like a pro utilize that checklist, get yourself a starter project ready to go. Make sure that your communications channel are ready and set up so that when you're talking about your project with your client, it's all happening in one place, and get ready for feedback using some kind of tool, or just have some kind of system and process in place. I highly recommend Markup. It's going to be free. So get into it, use it, enjoy it. There's other tools out there as well, like Markup, that are also free. So good luck. Enjoy the next video where we're going to go in depth about how to use the ultimate Webflow build checklist. Look, it's huge. It's a freaking mammoth checklist. There's a lot to get through in there, but I promise if you hang in there, right, if you love Webflow, you want to get the most out of Webflow, it's going to be an amazing learning curve for you and contribute massively to your projects being smooth, successful, and premium. Enjoy.